Yo, yo, yo. What is up, drag racing fans? And welcome to episode number 78 of Between the Slicks here on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube and Facebook channels. I'm your host, Darren Williams Jr., helping out my buddy Lee Craft here today. He is on the road at Funny Car Chaos. I believe they're in Louisiana, State Capital Dragway, here this weekend for event number 2 on the Funny Car Chaos Tour. And let's not wait any longer. Let's bring on the Monday Morning Racer himself, Lee Craft. Lee, how's it going, man?
Man, I am doing great. I just rolled into State Capital Raceway, famed State Capital Raceway, not too long ago, maybe an hour and a half ago, and I've already got me a margarita ready for the pre-party, and looking forward to some great Funny Car Chaos action this weekend, Friday and Saturday at State Capital Raceway. And Darren, I know you love your history. You know, I love my history of the sport. And this is one of those events that, coming back to this facility, which has not held a national event of any type in a long time, to hold Funny Car Chaos, which is becoming such a popular brand, I think this is a big deal. Seth, one of the track workers, he's like, man, I haven't seen anything blown alcohol here in a long time, especially a funny car. And at one time, I felt this was one of those events on the NHRA national tour that if you won, man, you knew how to tune your car and get a car down the track, because this event could be one of the hottest and, I dare say, most miserable events on the whole entire tour. My mom, Terry Craft, saying good evening, she knows that because my dad's always got to tell the story every time I mention this race. And every time here lately I've mentioned that I'm going to this facility for this Funny Car Chaos race, he's like, yeah, I remember I took your mom there for a national event, and she got so hot, and I had to take her back to the car and throw a blanket over the car and put her in the shade, turn the air on. Yeah, she got like purple in her lips. And he has to tell it every time. I've got to the point where I can just tell it better, and I'm telling it right here and continuing on an old family tradition.
Man, dude, I'm kind of jealous, man. I am jealous. Like I said, that is a historic racetrack you're out right now. And hey, dude, I'm sure you're about to get lit this weekend. I can tell right now. You already got the drink in your hand.
Right. I'm gonna have fun at Chaos for sure. And already been talking to some of the guys. There's some great stories. And with bringing up great stories, obviously there was a tragic story at the Classic. Ken Singleton, one of the worst alcohol funny car fires ever. Frankly, one of the worst funny car fires ever. He has made rapid progression. Today was a bit of a rough day that I saw from the update from his team. And guys and gals out there, if you're watching, you want to know more on Ken Singleton's condition, then go to High Risk Racing on Facebook. That's where people are being updated. There is a GoFundMe. There is a way to buy shirts to support the team. Be involved in that and help Ken out with those medical bills. And we're praying for you, Ken, and definitely hope that you have a continual improvement in the standard of your body and life, man. But Darren, Ken is 3-time Funny Car Chaos champion.
Yes, sir.
Ken is the most winningest dude in Funny Car Chaos competition. Ken was the guy with the bad hot rod. Well, he's not here because of what happened. The door is wide freaking open for someone to step up and show out in the chaos. And I think that's why you see some later on this weekend, some will be here like Dan Knobloch, who won the B field at the Classic. I don't think they originally intended to come to Louisiana, but they win. The door's open. Why not go to Louisiana? You've got others like Steve Tomozik and the Detroit Tiger. Originally, I don't think this was on their schedule, but they win the D field after being an alternate, and they plan on being here to capitalize on the situation. So the door is wide open for people to move forward and brand new storylines of the chaos to develop. I remember from some famous show, someone said, chaos is a ladder. Well, people are going to be climbing this weekend.
So that leads me to my next question. What's the car count out there in Louisiana? I mean, we of course we saw the huge car count out in Dallas, but what's the car count like here in Louisiana? I'm sure it's still pretty big, right?
No, it is the exact opposite. So
Mm.
the Funny Car Classic took its toll on the chaos field. Seriously, took its toll. The attrition level was high, and in fact, you're looking at 16 cars. So
Okay.
two fields, A field and B field, here for the Chaos Cajun Nationals. Now, why was the attrition so high at the Motorplex? Well, it's because that track was just so good, if not too good.
Mhm.
And the weakest link is going to let go. And, well, that's not a big old malleable Hoosier or Goodyear, but rather some crank or valve or lifter or spring, something of that nature.
Mhm. My next question is though, is Lyle Greenberg in the Cone Hunter there this weekend? Will he be competing in
No,
Louisiana this weekend? No.
no. So, there again, interesting storylines. A man who has been on a roll, no
Yes.
joke, he is not here. He is racing elsewhere, from what I understand, or he's got a race very close to this particular weekend in another part of the country. I think, if I remember correctly, they're preparing for a show in Denver,
Gotcha.
Mile High, their version of Night Under Fire, which he runs extremely well there, by the way. But he is not here. He does not run all the Chaos events. Would love to see him chase the points here in Chaos, but no, he's not. So it's wide open
Mhm.
because I know that there are you have one winner of the A field, so a few more points is not here. The three winners of the other fields are here: Clay Cunningham, Steve Tomozik, and also Don Knobloch. And I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. I've got to get that one down pat. It's just like what? Yeah, it doesn't. Yes, but they could definitely advance. Or you've got like the Williams brothers racing. They did not have a good classic, but here they are. This is more their type of track. I think that's going to be the case for everybody. And they battled with Ken Singleton all last year. Maybe they stand out and come away with an A field win. So yeah, stories are definitely afoot.
Yo, I am looking forward to this weekend. Like you said, the door is wide open, and I'm curious to see how this whole thing plays out. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and everybody at home, you can watch it on Flow Racing, right? That's where everybody can tune in and see
Yes,
all the action. Flow
yes,
Racing.
you can tune into Flow Racing, handled by a man that's in the tower right now. Warren Evans does a great job with it, and he will make sure that stream goes out and it'd be top notch. And I'll get some interviews for him, and he'll get them uploaded. But yes, Flow Racing presented by Laris Motorsports Insurance. No,
You're in Cajun country. It's Larice.
Larice. That's how you say it, Larice. Yeah, everything's pronounced differently down here, just like it is in upstate New York. It seems like. Like I told folks, I believe it was last show. There's this town outside of Rochester. It is spelt like chili, Chili. You do not say chili though. It is Chili, New York, like
Chili, New York.
Chili, New York. Like what uppity dude got to where Chili is and said, "Well, we're going to call it Chili." Yeah.
Chai Line, New York. I have never heard of that one. That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, but Lee, we also had a race in Las Vegas this past weekend, and it was bad to the bone, man. We saw some great race action at the 4 Wide Nationals in Las Vegas. You want to talk about that real quick?
Vegas was stellar. Look, if you're out there and you're like, I don't like the 4 wide, man, how could you not like what happened in Vegas? Let me tell you something. It is hard to photograph and film 4 wide racing.
It is.
But when every car is in unison and they go by you in the stands, that is one of the prettiest images in drag racing that there is, period. They were throwing down in every class. There was great tight racing in every class. Just imagine if Dallas Glenn didn't have the issue he had, what that final round would have looked like in pro stock. All 4 of them would have been right there to the line. But great stories with Christian Quadra. I'm calling him Double O Mexico. That's what I'm calling him. Double O Mexico. Yes, Christian Quadra, Double O Mexico. Yes, he got it done, and he's done that before. It's no fluke. But with Elite now tuning on that chassis, those Frank Iaconio engines, I think, are going to, well, come alive because they're going through the vessel of the Elite Motorsports chassis tuning effort. So kudos to Christian Quadra. Definitely Erica. You know, it's funny to me. Erica was like all down about being out round one. She wins. She's got half the wins in Pro Stock right now, and she's doing great. And it's like it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Erica.
Can we put some respect on Mason McGahe's name too, though? I mean, that dude, just like Christian Quadra, is like chopping down the tree every race.
Yes.
Like he is stepping up to the occasion every race, laying down double O reaction times. I just hate that he picked, the final round to have his worst reaction time of the day. Because just imagine if he had another double O light like he had in the first two rounds, just like Christian. Like you said, if Dallas Glenn had an 025 light, like we legit could have seen all four pro stockers right there at the finish line for that win. And man, I just hate it for Christian Quadra. Like I said, he was like, if this was a 1,000-foot race, he would have had it.
Right. He would have had it. He would have had it. He's wishing that Pro Stock did run 1,000-foot in that race. But no, remember, he's got it done. Remember, he had his. Well, it's hard to remember who actually won and lost the World Door Slammer Nationals because they did the whole duo thing as a family being in the final round. But remember, the very next event. And look, NHRA rules at Orlando, not a race, but the next points-paying event that year was the Gator Nationals. And who put Erica round one on the trailer with a whole shot? Christian Quadra.
Yes, sir. Yes,
he can drive.
Yes,
he can drive.
Yes, sir.
The whole family can drive. And again, I think you're going to see them nab some wins this year in Pro Stock. We cannot be complaining about drag racing right now, I think, Darren. If you're a complaining drag racing fan, just stop watching drag racing at this point. I mean, honestly, Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock Motorcycle, all stellar competition. Look, there may be nuances. Yes, I want to see Pro Stock cars look more stock. Yes, I do. But that doesn't mean I can't see good racing when it is in front of me. And we saw that at Las Vegas for sure.
Hey, and so Dave W was telling me there's a podcast out there with Kurt Johnson, Pro Stock, former Pro Stock racer Kurt Johnson, and they asked him on the podcast, they're like, hey, what are some Pro Stock drivers you're looking at right now and really catches your eye? And you know who he said?
He said Christian Quadra. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, to have Kurt Johnson say, hey, look out for this guy, that says a lot. Because Kurt Johnson, Warren Johnson, they're two of the best to ever do it. So I think that's pretty cool. And so also,
Darren, do you know how I know that Kurt Johnson said that? Do you know how I know?
How do you know?
I know because I watch your show, American Hot Rod Entertainment, with Inside the NHRA. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to watch Darren Williams Jr. and the great guests he has on. He even sometimes lets me come on every now and then and yak it up. But he does a great job on American Hot Rod Entertainment on YouTube. Definitely subscribe to his channel.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. So the thing was, obviously, we went to dinner that night after the race. I was actually going to ask you to come on the show that day, but I knew you were going to be like recording race footage. So I was like, I don't want to, get away what you're doing. But hey.
Yep. And by the way, to everyone out there, the testing footage will come out this week. So that means before Sunday. I don't know if it will be late Saturday night or even tomorrow night, but it will come out because literally I fly into Louisiana, and I don't mean fly in as on a big old metal bird. No, I fly in my little hoopty wagon, and that was starting out from Gallup, New Mexico. I pulled. Oh, it was a pull. It was a pull. Only like 2-3 hours of sleep in the back of the car at a rest area, some breakfast, burritos, boom, on down to Louisiana right now.
Getting it. Hey, man, living life on the road. You're living life right now, man. I love it. You're
living
life.
Living it.
Living it. Though. We got to talk about that 338-mile-per-hour blast by Brittany Force in the final round, though. Second fastest speed in Top Fuel history, man. 338 miles per hour. How about that?
Goodyear's like, no. We don't like to see that. Mm-mm. It's interesting. I watched Brittany on Joe Costello, WFO Radio. Someone else you need to definitely be paying attention to if you're not watching WFO Radio. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. Help him out there. Brittany was on talking about the win. He did ask about, hey, do you think we're going to see 340? It's out there. And Brittany said it's out there. But I found it interesting that the driver, the competitor that is, I will say, and I think, most routinely, because of her tuner throwing up such high mile per hours, stated, no, we're going fast enough. I'd rather not hit 340. And I sensed there's a bit from her, and I'm sure others, because I've heard it mentioned from others and even the funny car drivers, we got to slow down. They realize what is happening and what is going on. And again, they talked about this on the Wes Buck show. Have we completely eroded the reasoning behind 1,000-foot racing? I mean, parts attrition, like, yeah, it's more than ever, or at least the same it was in the quarter mile. Speeds, they're going faster.
Yes.
At a shorter distance.
And not just faster. These cars are a whole lot heavier than the cars from back in the day with all the safety restrictions and stuff like that on there. These cars are a lot more heavier and they're accelerating a lot more faster than they did back, pre 2008 and stuff like that. So it's crazy how fast these cars are accelerating. It's amazing. It
is physics mind numbing, honestly.
Yes.
Just it shouldn't be happening, but it is. And I don't understand how the tires are holding up. I don't understand how, I mean, Darren, remember, we're talking about engine blocks that are based off of a old Hemi. All right. Mm-hmm. So how it should, there's a push rod. There is a push rod. All right. And we're not talking about like fancy, rollers and hydraulic, it's a push rod in there. Mm-hmm. It is a push rod hemispherical head engine. Nuts.
Mm-hmm. Man, and you go back, if you go back in NHRA.com, if you just go back to NHRA.com and look at old results from back in the day, and they sometimes show the incremental times. And I remember Tony Petragon, when he went number 1 at Pomona in 2005 at the Winter Nationals, I don't know if this is the correct 1,000-foot time, but he went 3:99.5, I believe. That might not be, exactly correct, but I know he was in the 3-second range as far as 1,000-foot time. And just to think about funny cars now, we're like in the 380 zone.
Dude,
like Robert Hyde and Matt Hagen went 379 at one point. Like it's
Robert went a 384 in testing. Like it was nothing.
Like it was nothing.
And he's like, I'm done for the day. Solomon, his skibbies are red. Well, his shorts, not his underwear, but his shorts the rest of the day on the moped watching everybody else. It's like, yeah, 384, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
384s used to be special.
Yes.
Now it's kind of like, well, okay, there you go, 384. Big deal.
Remember at one point in the 1,000-foot era, we first went 1,000-foot funny car number 1 qualifier was like 401, 402. Remember those days?
Yeah.
Those days are long gone. Like that is amazing. And now we're like number 1 qualifiers like 383, 384 now. And they can even be going quicker now. They used to lay down the 382s and the 379s, just not long ago. So
it is insane. And I have to wonder, as a fan base, when do we become selfless and say, as impressive as it is for big numbers and low numbers to be on the boards, I want drivers to get out of those cars.
Yes.
And we're getting to a point, because there's areas in fuel racing, I feel safety has not went as where it should go. And drag racing is still so reactive to incidences that a driver decelerating from 340 miles per hour in a serious incident, depending on what they hit and how they land, I'm concerned of what the injuries could be for sure.
Mhm. I've honestly never thought that deep, but that you make a really great point.
Well,
Like,
I'm the one with the red Solo Cup, so
but nah, you make a great point though, and that's something that should be looked at and should be talked about. So definitely. But I just want to say this quick stat too, because I know we have Graham in the green room, so I know we're bringing him on soon.
oh, good, he is here.
Yeah, he's here. He's here. But I wanted to say this one quick stat real quick because this was amazing. I don't know if people know, but there was a bunch of Top Fuel history on the line in that final round of Top Fuel. Like a bunch. Can I break it down real quick? Because there was like
Break it down. Go solo screen. I'll keep working on the Solo Cup here.
No, I'll do that. But there was a ton of history on the line in the Top Fuel final. So let's break it down. So yeah, Brittany Force, Tony Schumacher, Antron Brown, and Steve Torrance. If Tony Schumacher would have won that race, he has 85 national event wins right now. If he would have won that race and picked up number 86, he would have passed Bob Glidden on the all-time NHRA wins list. Bob Glidden. I don't care if it's two different eras. 86 wins is still a lot of wins.
Bingo.
That is still pretty good and amazing. If
you're talking about the man that set the standard, Bob.
Yes. If Steve Torrance would have won that Top Fuel final, he would have tied Joe Amato and Antron Brown for third on the all-time Top Fuel's wins list. If Antron would have won that final, he would have sat alone third all-time on the all-time Top Fuel's wins list with 53 national event wins. But guess what? Brittany Force came through and spoiled all that.
Did.
With a 338 mile per hour blast. Amazing.
Yes. And kudos to her. Kudos to her. She drove really well. Mm-hmm. And if she continues to drive that well in regards to the starting line and did it under such chaotic elements, puts that now to the typical drag race. Wow. With what Grubby can do and her driving consistently, watch out.
Watch out. Hey, Lee, PDRA this weekend? Galot?
PDRA, Galot. Oh, and I think there might be a photo in the photo deck of the show that shows the hauler of a particular driver. And we interviewed him a couple of weeks. Oh, look at that. Killing Time Racing. This photo from NC Pro Modder. Definitely you guys follow him on Facebook. He does live streams at testing sessions and races, especially the Door Slammer races. But that's Killing Time Racing. Yes, Steve Eat Fast Jackson at a PDRA race. He is competing in Pro Boost. Looking forward to that for sure. Jim Halsey, I saw from Straight Line Media video that he's already went low ET in testing as of right now. So Jim's picking up where he left off, it seems. Going to be a great year there. I think really the class that steals the show, though, is Extreme Pro Stock, or AKA Mountain Motor Pro Stock out there. John Montecavo making big shifts. Driver Roy Hill now, and wow, I never thought that would happen. It's a Ford. John Kazi. You got Johnny Pacino out there. Chris Powers wants to defend his championship. Johnny wants it back. You got Dylan Voss. He, with his brother Corey, they're behind the wheel of their own mountain motor ride and program this year. And the regular cast of characters, and it sounds like we're even going to have a full field of 16 plus Extreme Pro Stock cars several times this year for the PDRA. Look, man, dude, there's so many good races this weekend. It's hard. I wish I could hire some other people to go handle some other races, because I love the Chaos gig. I love what Chris has done and given me an opportunity to do. But I want to be at Shadyside for the Southeast Gassers Gene Cromer Memorial. It's very important. My dad was Gene's crew chief. It's important to me. They're celebrating Gene's life and from him passing, and the Moonlighter Willis. And I wish I could be there. I wish I could be at PDRA. Woodstock is happening this weekend. There is great racing all over the place. And somehow, like if you put it on a map, like within an hour and a half of each other, you have Woodstock, PDRA, and Southeast Gassers Association in the Carolinas. I don't know who planned all that or how it worked out, but the Carolinas be rocking with the drag racing this weekend.
Okay, and that brings me to this. I got a bone to pick with Funny Car Chaos, what else? PDRA, and Why don't you guys come to the West Coast? Like, we want some love too. Like, dang, like we want some love too.
All right. Now, in the case with Chris and what conversations I've had, he realizes that there is demand beyond the Midwest, beyond Texas, but he doesn't want to alienate his core racer for the sake of growth, which is a big complaint of another sanctioning body. Okay, you got to know your racer. You got to know your core. I think eventually maybe we'll see Chaos East, Chaos West, and maybe there's a runoff. Maybe we will see Chaos, maybe we will see PDRA West. Or what I would love to see is somebody figure out, somebody out there, you're out there. They do this in dirt track racing. Like if you're the Silver Crown winner, you've won this big race, and this big race. And because you won those 3 big races, you get an extra load of dough. Well, doggone it, you know what needs to happen? If you win the throwdown at T-Town, the throwdown in Tulsa, if you win a big pro mod race out west and you win the Snowbirds out east, it's an extra $50,000. And that would make people go shifting in and out, I think, more of these series is trying to nab wins. And look, I like it when some Midwest guys show up to PDRA and they show out and they throw a wrench into Jim and Tommy's day and into Kurt Stedding's day and Melanie Salemi's day and everybody else's day. I like that.
And then basically, I love that too, because you talk about Lyle Greenberg, who's at the March meet, which is obviously on the West Coast. I get to go to the March meet all the time. See him go out to Funny Car Chaos and win. I think that's pretty cool. You got the Atomic Punk going out there. A lot of guys who race at the March meet go to Funny Car Chaos. I love when I see them do good. Feels like they're repping the West Coast really good because I'm a West Coast guy. So, and obviously, just joking about the Funny Car Chaos and PDRA and Southeast Garrison Association, I just got to head east now, for that stuff. I'll head east.
But like Stevie Fast Jackson said, all those West Coast boys need to come to the East where real door slammer racing happens.
Lee, how do you spell East? E-A-S-Y-T. No, I'm joking. Man. I'm joking.
But it is fascinating how pockets of the country have particular styles of racing. I mean, even beyond drag racing, like I would say the Southeast and the Carolinas is very stagnated, actually. It's dirt late model, it's asphalt late model, and it's drag cars, and particularly door cars. And like, that's it. And you go to somewhere like upstate New York, and it's door cars and sand rails and tractor pulling and, snowmobile racing. And there's a lot of the motorsports diversity. So it's fascinating across the country what you do and don't get. And the funny car strength of the West Coast compared to anywhere else is so strong, so strong. And yet they really don't have a vibrant door car scene. It's very strange to me.
Yeah. We have the West Coast Pro Mod Association that comes to the March meeting, the California Hot Rod Union, but it just, and I'm not taking away anything from those guys because they work hard and they do a lot to get on their track and stuff like that. But it doesn't feel, like the same pro mod that you see at a PDRA, that you see at an NHRA national event and things like that. So definitely. But again, like I say, how do you spell East Coast again? Or how do you spell East again? E-A-S-Y with the T, maybe, not sure. I think so. But yeah, West Coast.
No. You spell it with a silent capital B, E-A-S-T.
I love it. Hey, we got to talk about our guest here tonight, though. Steve Graham. How about that?
Steve, man, I wish I had the video. I didn't have time to upload it, but I go up there first round pro stock, and I see this white pro stocker do a burnout. And I'm like, Steve's in. He qualified 13th, and I'm celebrating not because like this is his first time. No, He's been a competitor out there for a while. I wish more people knew what he was doing. I think there's an interesting narrative with the growth of Elite, the growth of KB. He's kind of a privateer out there, and they have taken out big names before. I remember the first time I met Steve and was kind of helping cover his car because he has strutmasters.com on the side. Again, thank you, Chip Lofton. Thank you, man. But he took out Alex Laughlin, round one, Pomona 2019 finals. So he can drive, he can get it done. And I'm looking forward to the conversation with him on why pro stock, how did he get there, and what it's going to take to be regular competitors, and if he even wants that, or if he's got what he wants as of now in the pro stock ranks. So I'm looking forward to talking to Steve.
Gotcha. Well, you ready to get him on?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We'll take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back with Steve Graham.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your central console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.
Steve, man, how's it going?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Man, I'm doing great, doing great. Look, if you haven't met Darren Williams Jr., American Hot Rod Entertainment, he's helping me out a little bit since I'm on the road doing the whole Funny Car Chaos pit reporter thing. Steve, wow, man, look, congratulations. It was good to see you were in the show. You were there in round one. Talk to me about Vegas and making it into the four wide and what is in pro stock these days, steep competition.
I mean, just making the show obviously is first step in the whole picture, but since I started running pro stock, it's more competitive right now than it's ever been. You don't have anybody that doesn't have all the best equipment, all the best people behind them, testing, money, the whole deal. So it's an uphill battle right now, but you know, we sort of enjoy that. So we just try to do the best with what we got.
With that, doing the best with what you've got, explain to me your team situation. Is it accurate to characterize as a privateer? Any connections to, KB Racing, Elite Motorsports, or are y'all out there on your own in an island, so to speak?
I mean, we're a privateer, but we get a lot of support from Chris McGahey and Lester McGahey, and so it's not so much you're just on your own, but you don't have 5 or 6 other cars that you can lean on. You have 2, and it helps. Couldn't do it without them, but you still, even them, I would think would admit that, they're going up against, 5-6 car teams. It's hard for them. And, they have their own cars to race and pay attention to. So I try not to bug them too much, get in, when they're trying to focus on their own cars.
With that being said, are you running the same engines as the McGahey? Are you getting a different power plant? What's the engine source?
So we get engines from Chris, and Chris has always given us engines that are just as good as anything that he would put in his own car or in Mason's car. And when you don't make good runs, it's very easy to look like the engine is not as good as it is. And when you start making better runs, the engine looks better. Then all of a sudden people say, well, what changed in the engines? Well, nothing changed. It's always been the same engines. He's always had enough power to run up front. It just, the car, if you don't get the car right, the engines don't look as good.
Right. Right. And I think that's one reason why you even see the Quadra boys and family, get some tuning assistance from Elite, in particular with the chassis. I've never heard anything wrong with the Fire brand of engines. I've heard they've always made great power, but it doesn't matter how much power you make if you can't get it to the ground through the chassis. Not working, not happening.
No. And, like you said, I mean, everybody right now, I think everybody makes pretty similar power, in my opinion. Some may have little edge here and there. Some may tune to the weather a little bit better at times, but I think everybody's running very similar power. And it's all comes down to the car at this point. It's, if you can't make it to the center of the track fast, you're just not going to overpower somebody down the back of the racetrack. It's just, that's gone. It's not going to happen anymore. So you have to have everything just right for the session, for the lane, for, the track. And if you don't get 99% of it, you're either not going to qualify or you're just going to barely make it in, and you look at a lot of these guys have, our biggest thing is we don't make enough runs. We have to make more runs, but more runs is more time away. It's more money. It's more everything. So when we come out there, we're trying to get it all in 3 runs. They've already got a very good, baseline and then some. So I'm not upset with how we run ever really, because we don't set our expectations of going out there and thinking that we're going to be number 1 qualifier. So it's just not realistic for us. So when you set your expectations to what you think you can do and you achieve them or come close, then there's no point to really get down on yourself.
And I would say, with the few times that you and your team do show up, mainly West Coast, even though you've made some trips to Indy and competed there, but there have been moments where you've shown that you're a very capable driver. You've got a capable crew. Again, 2019, taking out Alex Laughlin in an Elite Motorsports ride there in round 1.
Yeah, and I feel like we have most of the pieces to do it. Of course, we'd like to have more selection of tires and gears and things like that. But when we do get almost all of it together on one run, you can see the potential of what we have. It's just getting more of those runs where you get 99% of it, and I feel like we're starting to turn that corner a little bit.
So you mentioned, time away, spending the money. You have some partners involved. We both know Chip Lofton, whether it was Strutmasters.com or Vita C Energy, VitaCShot.com. Also, there's Taco Bravo. Talk to me about some of the partners you've had that have helped you to fund this effort down the road a bit.
So Taco Bravo is a friend of mine that owns some taco restaurants or fast food restaurants, and I've known him for a long time, and he just is always there when we need him for whatever. It doesn't matter. He's always somebody I can rely on. And then, Chip, I mean, when he agreed to help again this year with Vita C, people don't realize how much a small sponsor can help a whole program, because that's money that I don't have to spend, that we can spend on other parts or going to rent a track or paying for tires or fuel or anything. Without guys like him and Dennis at Taco Bravo, Mr. Race Oil, those guys, it's impossible to do. You have to have some support. And he's just a guy that, Chip, I didn't know him from Adam. I never even really heard of him, to be honest with you. And he messaged me one day that he'd like to help out. And it's, we've stayed in touch, and he's been on and off the car when he can. And, he does everything he can to help guys like me. And without people like him, the sport's not going to survive. You have to have the top guys, and you have to have guys lower down the chain for the sport to survive.
Definitely, for sure. And I think that's one of the reasons why I feel I wish more people understood who you were and that you're out there and they would recognize your name, because you, I think right now in Pro Stock, have a very special place, because you're not just renting a ride. It is your ride, but you're not running the full schedule. And it's more like some nitro cars that are out there, the independents there, and they get that love, they get that branding, but it doesn't seem to happen in the Pro Stock ranks with that type of exposure. Everybody seems to get lumped in KB or Elite, and I would say I think even the McGahays to some extent don't quite get the love and recognition that they should. They definitely have capable cars to go out there and knock off Elite, KB, or anybody else.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the McGays, they've won races. They've proven that, they're competitive and they can run. I mean, they can win at any race, just like pretty much anyone else in the field. But I don't really know why people don't gravitate towards Pro Stock with sponsorship like they do the other classes. I hear people all the time say Pro Stock's dead and it's boring and this and that, but most of those people don't really know much about Pro Stock. They watch from the outside, but they don't know what goes into it, how complicated and technical the cars are, how finicky the cars can be. They don't really understand the class. And I wish, we never turn people away that have questions at the racetrack. I tell people all the time, they say, oh, everybody's got ropes up, blocking their cars off. Why don't you? Well, that's not how we started. We were sportsman racers, and I would be on the other side of those ropes looking in, trying to understand and learn. And I felt stupid. You feel out of place, like you're not supposed to be there. And so we don't ever do that to people. And the more people that we can educate, hopefully they go and talk to somebody, they know somebody, and then you never know, it can turn into a relationship that's beneficial for us.
Right. And it's that exact type of mentality with you, your team, that I definitely wish was exposed more often. You are one of the few Pro Stock pits out there that there's nothing roped off. And, there's been even times y'all are on the end of a row and you're just wide open out there right next to the road, and people are able to come in and check out what's happening. And in a world that is Pro Stock that has become so secretive, and like bringing a towel out to check valves or something is mind-boggling. And here you are with your team, and who's
well, let's put it like this. If you're smart enough to figure something out by being 5 feet away from a car looking at it, then you would be a hired Pro Stock crew chief getting paid a lot of money.
There you go. So yes,
that's how I see it. I mean, if you were that good, that smart, you would not be at my pit area trying to look at things. You would be heading up some, your own team or KB or Elite or somebody. You would be hired and working on a car. So
yes,
there's only, I don't understand it, but I guess people, I think it's more mind games than anything, because even us, we're in it, we do it, and I could look at somebody's intake manifold, or I could look at somebody's headers and say, it looks like a right idea. Why are they doing it? I don't know. Should I try it? Probably not. So there's a lot of wasted energy if you're focusing on that than rather your own car.
Bingo. See, perspective. I like that. Yes, if you can figure something out and you see it and you're 5 feet away, yes, you probably should be working in Pro Stock or have an R&D department or something for sure. And look, I know in the Pro Stock world there might be more room for proprietary technology, but I mean, we are in a day and time, unlike the early 90s, 80s, definitely the 70s, where we're more spec, whether it's Nitro or Pro Stock or anywhere else, than it ever has before.
Yeah. I mean, by far, it's, you can, I mean, if I had enough money, you could walk down the Pro Stock pits and you could buy your way into anything. So there may be secrets there, but it doesn't mean that you can't get it if you got enough money. And somebody like myself, even if I saw it, I wouldn't have enough money to go and do it. So we need to be more open to fans and let them understand what really goes on in Pro Stock, because if you don't get them involved, they're not going to have interest, and you got to give them more than one person to root for, more than one team, or develop a following, and that's how things grow.
The starting line in the Pro Stock world has always been important, and you've been drag racing for a while. Do you feel that game on the line, as far as cutting a light, has went to another level even within the past 3, 4, 5 years?
I think it's gone to another level just in the first 4 races, to be honest with you, because everybody is so close and knows that they have basically copies of one another's cars. It doesn't cost you anything to leave the starting line first. So that's the easiest thing to do, is get off the starting line first. So it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't take any effort to get 200s off the starting line rather than find 200s in the car. So everybody is just trying to kill the tree. And if you don't, you're going to lose. And I'd rather be red than 60 green, because you're done anyways if you're 60 green. So you might as well be red trying to go for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's serious right there. That is serious. And like you said earlier, you just can't rely on the horsepower coming around anybody anymore, because things are that close, things are that tight. So wow, the game is definitely serious on the line for sure. Man, 060 is not
Yeah. I mean, you can't be, I shouldn't even say 60. You can't be, unless you got a really, really good car, you better be 30 or better.
I was surprised Aaron Stanfield, in his win in Phoenix in the press conference with him, he mentioned that he needed to drive more consistently. And I said, afterwards, after all the questions were asked, I got one more question in with him privately. I said, man, look, you just won this race. You did drive well. What more consistency do you need? He's like, I want to be 020 and below every time.
That's what it takes. I mean, that's what it takes to win these races. And if you're not, you just, there's no way around it. So if you're not, somebody else is going to be. And I mean, I guess I feel like an old guy, even though I'm not, but all these kids, I guess they're kids. I don't know. They're all 20 and 25 and this and that. They just go up there and hammer the tree. They got nothing. They don't worry about anything, and uh, for me, I got to turn off being uh, kind of a crew chief owner and try to be a driver. And then while you're up there, you know exactly what's in the car. So you're worrying about what the car is going to do and if it's going to shake or if it's going to leave good. And so there's more things going through your head. But if you don't block that out and are 30 or better, 20 or better, you're going home no matter what. I mean, I think Vegas was a very good indicator of where the drivers are in pro stock right now, because every run somebody was 00, 014, 020. Just, you could look at somebody that won a race in pro stock and you think they're running super comp, because you look at results or super comp and it's 00, 00, 00. You think they were leaving with a delay box and it was like, on a button. I mean, that's how good everybody's gotten, and it's not going away.
Man. Well, I want to talk about your crew a little bit. You seems like every time I stroll through the Graham pit, it's the same cast of characters. And one guy in particular, his name fails me right now. I know I think of him as minor league. I always call him in my minor league. He played baseball, and he's a great guy. Talk to me about your crew, and fill me in his name. And then there's the other guy, like Salt and Pepper Hair. He's always hanging around. Talk about the crew a little bit.
Yeah. So minor league, he's been at work, so he wasn't even at the races. But he's always, he's always going and helping, and he's got his own car that him and his brother own too. So he's been there since we started running pro stock. And then his name's Brian. I got 3 Brians. So Brian and then Brian Weber, who is a big part of what we do and is always there to help. And then Brian Massini, who is just swamped at work and can't go all the time, but when he does, he's a huge help. I mean, I've been racing with him since we were 16 years old, and those 3 guys have been the main core. And now we have one of the Bryans, his brother Tim, comes and helps, and another guy Troy comes and helps. So it's all friends that we've raced with, we hang out with, we go vacation with, and it's the only ones that I can't have because they don't get paid, so they go for free. So that's a big plus.
They're also hard to fire, right? No.
Yeah.
No. No, you got a great group over there for sure, and definitely a different mentality. There's one pro stock crew member out there in the ranks on a particular team I won't name, but I think to myself, I'm like, do you just hate being out here and hate people looking at anything, or what? I'm like, just what is your problem, dude?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that we've met over the years doing this, and some that after you meet them, that's the last time you're probably ever going to talk to them. But our group it's just, we all just want to go have fun, but at the same time, we're all very, very competitive. So everybody says, well, it's supposed to be fun and this and that. And yes, I understand that. But when I say they, KB, Elite, Quadras, Chris, everybody, they want to cut your head off every time. They don't care who you are. It's just cutthroat. So if you don't go there with that mentality, you're going to get beat like you probably never been beat before.
Well, Steve, definitely anybody on the West Coast, they should be pulling for you. You're the West Coast guy. What you think you're, San Francisco area, somewhere around there for you?
I live in Santa Clara, so
Okay.
south of San Francisco.
Okay.
But, yeah, you know, we do the West Coast stuff, and I'd love to go further out and race different tracks. I mean, we have some, like you said earlier. I mean, we've ran Indy in St. Louis and Houston, and you know, I really want to go to Houston, but it just the gas prices right now. Unless I found somebody else that can help us pay for that, it's just it's ridiculous, you know. And but I hope that people can have a little, you know, somebody to root for that's close to home, you know, and out of California and or just the West Coast in general, you know. And we're, you know, we're regular guys. You can come up, you can talk to us, you can. I tell people all the time, you know, I'm like, and this is sad to say, but if I wasn't drag racing a car, if I wasn't racing the car, I wouldn't go to watch. And that says a lot about the fans that take their kids, battle the heat, walk around all day. And when I see these people, I tell them all the time, you know, hey, if you want to sit down and you need a water or something, we're here for you. You know, they spend a ton of money to go. I feel bad for the fan because I shouldn't say it's not a good experience, but it's a lot of work just to go to the racetrack to watch.
Definitely. And, you know, depending on where you go, and I think one of the most challenging would be the Fairplex, where Pomona Auto Club is. I think it is one of the most challenging places to visit as a fan. It's the longest walk I have ever had to get to the gate to get my ticket for any NHRA track. And I've been to a lot of them. And I've been to NASCAR races. It just you start out and you're like, there? No. Please no.
Yeah.
So
exactly. It's you know, I've always said they need to have 200 golf carts driving people around, because you wouldn't catch me walking all the way from one end of the track to the other. It's just, you know, it's they need a little, you know. And a lot of people, they'll stop and say, hey, do you know where this person's pitted or this person's pitted? And you feel bad because you don't know where everyone's pitted in all the classes, but they go and they want to go see their driver that they follow, and they spend half the day just trying to find the person. And those things can be rectified very easy. It just, people need to hear what the fans are saying.
Definitely. Well, man, look, I appreciate the perspective. I appreciate the time. What is the next race, and where can people follow Steve Graham Motorsports, and keep tabs on you?
So next race for us will most likely be Sonoma in July. That's our home track. I haven't given up 100% on Houston yet. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll see. But if not, we'll definitely be at Sonoma and Seattle and possibly Indy. So, you know, it just depends on time and money. That's all. But my Facebook is at Graham Motorsports. Instagram is at Graham Motorsports. People don't realize, well, people do realize. I didn't realize that it's the more people that go and follow, and the views, and I'm bad about posting things. I can't say that I do it all the time. Just that alone gives a guy like me a better chance at getting more sponsorship. And it literally is nothing but clicking a button and following somebody. And you know, that they can have a fan can have a direct effect on allowing a driver and a team to keep competing by just following their social media outlets.
For sure, it is important that the social media outlets keep growing and moving forward, and fans do actually interact and follow. So, ladies and gentlemen, go give Mr. Graham here a follow on those outlets. Steve, man, good to chat with you. And sorry I hadn't been at the track. I've been so busy at the track with the teams I've got or covering the event, but I've been keeping my eye on you and the fellas, and give them my best. Thank you for coming on the show, and hope you go rounds.
I will. I appreciate it. You know how we are. Anytime you're there, you just come over, and I guarantee you're going to leave our pit probably laughing or with a smile on your face.
For sure. For sure. For sure.
But I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Steve. Take care, man.
All right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Steve Graham, a great character out there in the pro stock ranks, and I definitely think more people need to be pulling for him, like this kid out there in SoCal. That's your driver, boy.
What a great dude. What a great dude. I mean, everything he says. And I want to pull up a comment right here from Frank4434. He says, Steve Graham from San Francisco is an independent pro stock racer who is exceptionally talented and is competitive for a guy to have no major backing and / sponsorship.
Yep.
Man. And just like you saw from there, just how he cares for the fan. You know, you don't really see that a lot. You know, to say, you know, we need 200 golf cars to get these fans, you know, to where they have to go. Because I'll tell you what, it is a lot. You know, being for us media, it's kind of easier, you know, but like for the average fan, it is tough. It's very expensive, you know, just to make the overall fan experience just a little bit more easier. I can agree with a lot.
I hope to in the future, and maybe I can even find a sponsor for this. So look, I am a fan. I just got some good breaks, and I feel like with some talent that I do have, I've been able to progress in this thing, and I'm actually considered, some people consider me, crazily enough, media, shades and all. But I would still like to purchase a ticket, that ticket be like a weekend pass or good reserve seats, and those tickets be passed along to a fan, but actually show up to the track and walk in as a fan and do reviews as the fan experience and what to expect, which is what I used to do when I was just having to buy tickets to go cover the races. And I would put them in my national event reviews. I would mention this is what the experience was like, whether it was negative or positive. I told what it was, and I still think there's room for that. And yeah, maybe I can find a sponsor to do that and get the fan experience so people do know. But the fan experience, though I do like what the NHRA provides, every ticket is a pit pass, that doesn't mean they should rest there. And I'm not even proposing new ideas. I'm not saying that they need to make this or that adjustment, but don't rest there. Put people together, hear from the fans, and move the experience forward.
I agree. And I want to say this too. Your national event and review videos were amazing. I used to love watching those. So I would love to see you bring those back. That'd be pretty cool if you bring those back.
I appreciate that, man. And it's something I love doing them. It's just I'm not there every weekend for the tour, you know, now doing chaos, and it just because they would be so disjointed, because for that one particular year, I was at every NHRA national event, if I remember correctly. And I was able to have this flow, this continual of that story, that thread of reviewing the national events. So, yeah, I'm not doing them right now, but the baton was passed to a pretty good guy in American Hot Rod Entertainment, Darren Williams Jr. You all folks follow him and recognize the inside NHRA job that he's doing, which is a good one.
I appreciate that, man. I'm honored.
Yeah,
I'm honored. I want to say one last thing about Steve, man. What caught my eye too is, you know, him saying, for a fan, if they're ever tired, come over if they want to sit down and grab a bottle of water. I really do appreciate that he still does that and stuff like that. And not saying other guys in the pits don't do that, but for the fact for him to do that, I think that's pretty cool. And like he was saying earlier, if you can spot out what's going on that engine or whatever from a pro stock car just from looking at it for 5 minutes, then you should definitely be a crew chief,
right?
Because
right.
You're a pretty talented dude.
right. Like you really got to pull the towel out. Come on. Come on.
So Kyle Koretsky pulled the towel out on me this past weekend because I wanted to get a picture of the top of the hood because he had a nice tribute to some officers who passed, rest in peace, to some officers who passed in their hometown. And so I just wanted to get a picture of the hood and the roof, actually. I'm sorry, the roof. And they put the towel over, and I'm like, Kyle, I am not that smart. I am not that mechanically sound to know what's going on. But I know from the picture wise, if that got out, who knows? But for me alone, I'm not that mechanically savvy. So you don't have to worry about me.
I don't know. Maybe figure out another way to hide it other than a towel. Put some effort there, maybe. I don't know. But maybe it is just mind games for all we know. That class has always had the mind games for sure. But Steve is one of those characters. Ever since I met him, first time, 2019 World Finals, he had strutmasters.com on the door. And that was the first weekend I ever helped Chip Lofton and his teams. Thanks, Chip. I got to meet him. I'm like, man, this is kind of a cool dude. And Brian, minor league, as I say, he's a pretty cool dude. And they're all pretty cool over there. And they just good guys that want to go racing. And they're the type of people that I wish more knew about. And I'm not saying that the NHRA has got to tell their story. Look, you do have to win rounds for your story to be told a bit. I get that. I understand that. But as I remind people, and I'll remind you right now, that's why Between the Slicks does exist. Do I want to talk to the biggest names in the sport? Yes. But do I also want to talk to, and more often, the people you've never heard about or you don't know enough about? Yes.
And I mean, it just brings great exposure to a guy like Steve Graham. I mean, just from this show alone, you get to see like his backstory and everything about him. And just from this show alone, you see just how much of a great guy he is. And I love listening. Another great interview from you, also, Lee. I want to commend you on another great interview. But it just goes to show, just from this little exposure, just goes to show how great of a guy he is. So definitely. And you think about the Jim Maronis and the other small guys within the sport. They have great stories, that should be told, and I feel like need to get out there. Just in my opinion.
Yep. Look, there are plenty of stories to be told. There's plenty of room for Competition Plus, Drag Illustrated, Monday Morning Racer, American Hot Rod Entertainment, Everything Nitro, Kellen's Nitro Files, Drag Racing Central, Straight Line Media, the Racing Vids, 1320 Video. I'm failing on all the others, but there's many out there. There's plenty of stories.
Yes.
Give them all a like, a share, a follow. I know what I'm going to do right now, Darren. We're going to close this show out because I want to get to the party. There's a party happening, and I'm not there.
Can we show, before we leave, can we just show a few more comments before we get out of here? Because a lot of people commenting. And let's show the comments real quick.
Let's do that.
So right here, we got Frank 4434. He says, "Thank you two gentlemen for the exceptional job you guys do covering NHRA. I know it's not easy and not rewarding, but you two are single-handedly keeping NHRA in the public's eye online." That's really cool.
It is not easy, and no, it's not that rewarding. Yes, it's not. Thank you, Frank.
And then him 426 Timmy says, "Steve G is cool, but he has a way to go. He has ways to go to catch up to Darren." Oh wow. That's cool. That's cool. And then finally we got Pat Lardy says, "I don't know about winning rounds apart, but I enjoy stories and the journeys of all these people." And me too. I love stories. I love people's backstories. I love their journeys to where they got to get to where they're at. So I'm all for it. So I definitely agree with Pat.
Yes. And I think it's the same way with crew members. I've had some crew members on the show. You've had crew members on your show. I think I was talking with Ryan Elliott, car chief there with Cruise Petragon, this past weekend at Las Vegas. I said, you think about it, crew members are exploited to some extent. And this is what I mean. they are advertised as a part of the show. They're advertised as a part of the circus. Every ticket is a pit pass. What does that mean? You get to see the guys work on the car. Mm-hmm. Yet, we hardly know any stories from, I would dare say, a national dragster and NHRA level of the people out there. Mm-hmm. I think there needs to be more isolation on the characters that work on these cars. And I hope, maybe in the future, a weekend like Las Vegas where I didn't have a particular team to work for and with, maybe we can follow Ryan or someone else intently over a whole weekend. I mean, like they wake up in the motel room and they wake up right in front of the camera like, oh gosh, it's you again. No, you can't follow me to the shower, but we follow them and their whole weekend and what it's like being a crew member. Look, guys, it's tough. Like, I don't know if any of you have ever seen like Ryan Elliott at the end of a weekend, but he looks like, Commando, like Schwarzenegger Commando, because like there's all this clutch dust over his face, and he's just like one eyeball squinting and one's fully open, and that one's white, and he doesn't even look white no more. He looks dark skinned. Yeah.
And you think about it too, it's just not they put in so much hard work, but then you got to think after the event, they have to tear everything down and hit the road. Like there's just so much more that goes into it. For me, I am not a handyman, so having to take down a whole tent and all this stuff, that goes into a whole weekend, I couldn't do it. So, kudos to those guys. They're badass.
That's right. That's why you work for Competition Plus.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hey, but I'm still a blue collar, hardworking dude, though. Still got my hands dirty, though.
Right. Darren, look, thank you for your help, man. It made it so much easier. I didn't have to hit any buttons. I was able just to sit here and talk. I appreciate it. It definitely was helpful being on the road. Guys, follow American Hot Rod Entertainment, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow this kid who's doing great things. And maybe one day he'll get away from Rook status.
Still a rookie, right? Still a rookie.
That's right.
Hey, any commercials to end the show or how you want to do it?
I tell you what, in honor of that last comment, Destroyer 1320, let's remind everybody of their theft deterrent system that they need to pick up for their modern hot rod. To everybody, until next time, I'm the Monday Morning Racer, and for Darren Williams Jr., American Hot Rod Entertainment, God bless, and keep the pedal to the metal.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your center console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it in the neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.